Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about astrology, and it has been a while since I have done an astrology video, so I'm really excited. Today we're going to be talking about your chart ruler in astrology. If you don't know what your chart ruler is, it is the ruling planet of your entire birth chart. Your chart ruler is a really significant and really important part of your birth chart. It has a lot to do with your overall personality and just kind of the way you show up in the world. But whichever planet you have as your chart ruler, the energy of that planet is going to be a main focus in your life throughout your life. And then whichever house your chart ruler falls into in your birth chart, that house or that area of your life is also going to be the main focus of your life. It's going to be a recurring focus in your life. It's going to be the major theme of your life. So in a lot of ways, our chart ruler can kind of tell us a lot about our life purpose. It's kind of related to our life purpose in that sense because it plays such a major role in who we are and what we're going to focus on in this lifetime. So your chart ruler is one of the most significant, if not the most significant planet in your birth chart. It really kind of sets up the whole rest of your chart. Now, in order to find your chart ruler, what you need to know is your rising sign, also known as your ascendant. If you don't know your rising sign, you are going to need to have an accurate birth time and birth location because rising signs change every 2 hours. And your rising sign is the sign that was rising on the eastern horizon at the time that you were born. If you know your rising sign, aka your ascendant, then you're going to be able to figure out your chart ruler because your chart ruler is the ruling planet of your rising sign. So using myself as an example, I am a Libra rising. Libra is ruled by Venus. So Venus is my chart ruler. And then to take it a step further, you're going to want to find what house you have your chart ruler in. So Venus, my chart ruler, is in my 11th house. So Venus and the 11th house are going to be the major focus of my life. My energy is going to be focused in the 11th house, and it's going to have that Venus influence with it. So if you understand your chart ruler and then the house that it falls into, that's going to paint a pretty detailed picture for you. In this video, we're going to go through the rising signs and what your chart ruler is depending on your rising sign. And then we're also going to briefly talk about the house that your chart ruler falls into. As always, I encourage you guys to dig a little deeper, do a little bit more of your own research, take a look at your chart. What you have to remember with astrology is that it's so very personal. It is not one size fits all because yes, we have 12 zodiac signs, 12 houses, 10 planets. It really has everything to do with how it's all aspected in your chart, the ways that the energies interact with one another. So if you have a planet that is aspected in a really harmonious way in your chart, then that energy is going to manifest a lot differently than if that planet were aspected in a more challenging or just more poorly aspected way. The energy is going to manifest totally different depending on how it's aspected. So it's not one size fits all. So you really want to look at your own chart to get a much better detailed idea of how the energies manifest. Let's just jump right into it. So we're going to start with our rising signs and the ruling planets. So if you are an Aries rising, that means your chart ruler is Mars. Now, Mars is an action-oriented planet. It is an aggressive planet. It's a planet with a lot of energy. Mars has everything to do with how we direct our energy. So if your chart ruler is Mars, you're going to be somebody that is very action-oriented, very motivated, very aggressive in the way that you pursue things. But then depending on which house you have Mars in, you could kind of think of it as you're going to aggressively pursue that house. Your energy is going to be focused in that house. If you are a Taurus rising, then your chart ruler is going to be Venus. Venus is the planet of money, of love, of beauty. It has everything to do with our desires. So you are going to be focused on those things. You're going to be focused on love, focused on money, focused on what you want. You're going to be focused on, enjoying the pleasures in life. You may be a little bit indulgent. You'll probably be pretty focused on money, how you can make money, having nice things, enjoying the beauty and the pleasures that life has to offer. If you are a Gemini rising, then your ruling planet is Mercury. So this is all about the mind. You are going to be somebody who has a lot of mental energy. You are going to be an avid learner. You're going to want to learn about a lot of things. You might be a gossiper. You like to talk. You are all about communication and processing information. You're a deep thinker. You have a lot going on in your mind at all times. So this is a very mentally, what's the word I'm thinking of? Aroused individual. And you're gonna be somebody who loves to talk. If you are a Cancer rising, then your chart ruler is the moon. The moon is one of the two luminaries. The moon and the sun are our luminaries. So if you are ruled by the moon, the first thing is that you're gonna be somebody who really is driven by your emotions. You move through life through your emotions, through your feelings, through your intuition. But this is also somebody that does a lot of reflection. Inner reflection, outer reflection. You are somebody who is very driven by the way that you feel. If you are a Leo rising, then your ruling planet is the sun, our other luminary. So this is all about creativity. This is about self-expression. As someone that is ruled by the sun, it's likely you are the center of attention, or you like to bring a lot of light into, the environment that you're in. You want to be noticed. You want to stand out. The world is kind of your stage. But it is really this kind of like childlike, playful, creative, and very expressive type of energy. If you are a Virgo rising, your chart ruler is Mercury, similarly to Gemini. So again, this has everything to do with the mind. This is someone with a lot of mental energy, someone who likes to communicate, speaking, talking to people, learning, sharing information, all that stuff. If you are a Libra rising, your chart ruler is Venus. So this is similar to Taurus. Again, Venus is the planet of money, love, beauty. It's all about our desires. It's all about the pleasures in life, indulging in life. It, has a lot to do with beauty. So you might be somebody that's like really into the way that you look. You might be very into, your physical appearance. And there is also that focus of relationships, marriage, partnerships, all that stuff. If you are a Scorpio rising, your ruling planet is Pluto. Traditionally, it is Mars. Some astrologers do not use the more modern planets like Pluto, Uranus, Neptune. I do. So to me, if you're a Scorpio rising, you are ruled by Pluto, but you are also ruled by Mars traditionally. Scorpio and Pluto is all about death and rebirth cycles. So the house that you have Pluto in, if it's your chart ruler, you might find a lot of cycles of death and rebirth in that area of your life because you're constantly evolving and transforming that part of your life. Pluto also has to do with power. It has to do with like the deeper and more hidden meanings of things. So you will probably be someone that is kind of looking for the deeper meanings in life. You're looking beneath the surface and you're going through that death and rebirth transformative process throughout your life repeatedly. If you are a Sagittarius rising, you are ruled by Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is a very lucky planet. It's also a planet that is all about higher learning and philosophy. So you're going to be someone who is probably pretty optimistic and you're kind of willing to take more calculated risks. But aside from that, you're going to be somebody that is very philosophical. You are maybe going to be interested in higher learning, higher levels of education. This also has a lot to do with faith, spirituality, religion. So you might be somebody that's really focused on those things, or you're always trying to find the meaning of those things throughout your life. And then, of course, Jupiter and Sagittarius is all about travel. So you are probably somebody that likes to do a lot of traveling and experiencing other cultures. Whatever house you have Jupiter in, if Jupiter is your chart ruler, there's going to be like a philosophical approach to that house throughout your whole life. If you are a Capricorn rising, this means your chart ruler is Saturn. Now, the first thing you're going to find is that whichever house you have Saturn in, you're going to be met with a lot of restriction, a lot of challenge and obstacles in that house. But you're also going to be somebody who is hardworking, very disciplined, very responsible. You're climbing up the mountain. You're always building and learning and trying to achieve greater things. But you are going to experience some of that restriction that Saturn brings in whichever house you have Saturn in. If you are an Aquarius rising, your chart ruler is Uranus. Now, traditionally, Aquarius was ruled by Saturn. I use the modern planets. Some astrologers don't. A lot of astrologers do. In my opinion, Aquarius, you are ruled by Uranus, not Saturn. Although, again, you could kind of look at both of them in your chart. But anyways, somebody who has Uranus as their chart ruler, the first thing you might notice, especially in the house that you have Uranus in, you could find that there's like a lot of unexpected events that take place in that house. You might be like up and down and up and down, and things will be really good and then really bad, and then there will be a lot of changes. Uranus brings a lot of surprise, a lot of change, a lot of unexpected events. So you could notice like a lack of stability or just a lack of like consistency in that house. Uranus is also the higher octave of Mercury, which is the mind's planet. So Uranus is kind of like that genius energy. So you may have like a really deep understanding or a really high intellect in whatever house you have Uranus in. You might be like really knowledgeable in that house or have just like a deeper, higher perspective and understanding of that house. Lastly, we have Pisces. If you're a Pisces rising, you are ruled by Neptune. And as I've mentioned in some of the previous ones, I use the modern planets. Some astrologers don't, a lot of astrologers do. So traditionally, Pisces was ruled by Jupiter, but in modern astrology, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. So in my opinion, a Pisces rising is ruled by Neptune, but you could definitely look at Jupiter as well in your chart. Now, the thing with Neptune is that there's a lot of like illusion and delusion when it comes to Neptune. So you may find that the house that you have Neptune in, you could feel like you don't really see that area of your life clearly. You could really lack boundaries in that area of your life because Neptune is an energy that like there are no boundaries. It doesn't quite understand boundaries. It dissolves boundaries. But then there's also a heavy spiritual energy that surrounds Neptune. So whichever house you have Neptune as your chart ruler in, you are going to have a spiritual approach to that house. So now let's chat about the 12 houses. So now you know what your chart ruler is. You know a little bit about what that planet represents, the energy of that planet. So now we're going to add that with the area of our life, aka the house that planet falls into. If your chart ruler falls in your first house, this means that your focus in life is going to be all about you. It's going to be about the self. This is going to be about self-discovery. You're going to spend your whole life learning about yourself and discovering who you really are. This is usually a pretty independent energy because you are just focused on who am I? How do I define myself? Like, what am I in this world? It's going to be all about self-discovery. If your chart ruler falls in the second house is all about value. So you are probably somebody that's going to be really focused on money. How can I make money? How can I make a living? You are going to be focused on your desires and your wants and more of the pleasures in life. But then the second house, because it has to do with value, this also has a lot to do with our self-esteem, our self-worth, the value that we give to ourselves. Now, if your chart ruler falls in the third house, you are going to be focused on learning, on education, on the people that are in your immediate environment, getting to know the people around you, making connections. This is all about communication. This is all about speaking and thinking and sharing your opinions and sharing your ideas. So you're going to have a focus on the people around you and really communicating and learning about them, learning about a lot of different topics. Those are going to be your focuses in life. If your chart ruler falls in the fourth house, there's going to be a major focus and emphasis on the home. No matter what kind of home you come from, you're going to be focused on the home, creating your own home, building a solid foundation for yourself. This is all about our roots. So planting roots and discovering, like where we come from and where we want to go and the types of foundations that we want to build and the type of home that we want to have. There could also too in your life be a significance towards your mother or whichever motherly figure you would consider as like the motherly influence in your life, because the fourth house does directly relate to the mother. If your chart ruler falls in the fifth house, that is definitely going to be an indicator that you are going to have a focus on children. Now, this doesn't mean you have to have children, but it is a pretty good indicator. You're probably meant to have children. You probably want to have children. But regardless, there's going to be a focus on children throughout your life, a reoccurring focus. Maybe you work with children, or you do something to volunteer for children, or whatever. There's an emphasis on children. But this also has to do with creativity. So you are going to be really focused on creative expression, self-expression. And this also does have to do with like romantic fun. So this isn't necessarily like our marriage partner. This is more about like dating, having fun. It kind of has a lot to do with sex. So you definitely are going to have more of like a childlike energy about you. There's going to be an emphasis on children in your life, but then you kind of also like embracing your inner child with your creativity and like I said, romantic fun. Let's just put it that way. If your chart ruler falls in the sixth house, there's going to be a major focus on your day-to-day work, your day-to-day routines. So this is not the type of work about like, what is my life purpose? What are my wildest dreams? No, there's going to be a focus on like your day-to-day, how you make a living for yourself, the job that you go to every single day. You're probably somebody that really likes to work. Work is important to you. You're going to take your work seriously. This is also somebody who's going to have a focus on being of service to others. You could be in a field where you are serving others in some way, helping or healing others in some way. The sixth house also does rule pets. So you could have a focus or a significance on pets, being of service to animals of some sort. So this has to do with routines and structure and work, and then also being of service to other people or animals. If your chart ruler falls in the seventh house, this is a pretty strong indicator that you will probably get married, or there will be a focus on marriage. With the seventh house, there is a focus on partnerships, whether it's business or romantic. The seventh house is the house of marriage. You are going to be the type of person that really focuses on your partners, focuses on the people you are in partnerships with. You probably put a lot of your energy into your partnerships or into your marriage. You probably put those people even before yourself. So this one is a huge emphasis throughout your life on the partnerships that you are involved in, whether it's business or romantic. If your chart ruler falls in the eighth house, you are going to be someone throughout your life that is always searching for the deeper meaning. You want depth. You want deeper understanding. You're probably someone that's really interested in psychology, really intrigued with psychology, the way the mind works. You aren't the surface level type of person. You're always digging deeper. This is also a challenging house placement because there's going to be this constant theme of transformation, of death and rebirth. So you might have to stop and start. You might have to rebuild a lot in your life. Like I said, that's going to lead you to having this desire for a deeper understanding and getting below the surface, really being more interested in the deeper meaning to things and the psychology of yourself and other people. If your chart ruler falls in the ninth house, there's going to be a focus on philosophy, a focus on your faith, spirituality, religion, finding faith in something, finding meaning in something. This also is the house of higher learning, higher education. So you may be someone who's really focused on those types of things. You might go to school for a really long time. You might want to learn more and more and more about a subject. This has a lot to do with philosophy. So you're always going to have a philosophical approach in life. This does also have to do with travel. So you may be someone that travels a lot, that wants to experience other cultures. This is like long distance travel, bigger trips, further away trips, exploring the world type of energy. If your chart ruler falls in the 10th house, this is going to be a focus on your career, on your public image, your public persona, your reputation, your life purpose. You're going to be someone that wants to know what your purpose is. You're trying to find your purpose. There's going to be a huge focus on that. You're going to care about how you appear to the world, how you come off to other people, your reputation, your public image. Those things are going to be a huge focus for you. If your chart ruler falls in the 11th house, you are going to be focused on people, on networking, on connecting with people. You probably have a lot of friends, or you're somehow involved involved with a lot of other people, especially in the day and age we're living in now. The 11th house has a lot to do with like social media or the internet. So you are going to have a focus of connecting to others and somehow being an influence in the lives of other people. The 11th house also has to do with like our wildest dreams, our wildest wishes, and our hopes and dreams for what we want, our visions of the future. So you're also probably going to be focused on like those bigger pictures of what you really want to accomplish in life. Lastly, if your chart ruler falls in the 12th house, you are someone that is very private. At least to an extent where you withhold a lot, you keep a lot hidden behind closed doors. You're somebody that really needs alone time. You're gonna want solitude, you're gonna need solitude in order to like recharge yourself, in order to understand yourself. You are going to be someone that spends a lot of time in solitude. There is also going to be a focus on healing from the past, healing from trauma, healing from past life trauma. And then this does also have to do with spirituality and psychic gifts, psychic abilities. So there is going to be a focus on that. So it's a very internal type of energy. It has a lot to do with healing, a lot to do with spirituality, a lot to do with finding yourself and being alone and kind of going within, dealing with the more private parts of your personality. That wraps it up for kind of this introduction into chart rulers. I hope that you guys learned something from this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please share this video with anyone that you think would find it interesting. Thank you guys so much for watching. I super appreciate it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!